Picture the moment. It's the middle of a Tuesday evening, and you're sitting at your laptop, staring at FiFa's ticketing platform one more time. You've been through this process before. You've waited in endless queues, watched prices fluctuate, and refreshed the page more times than you'd ever admit. Most attempts end the same way: disappointment. But this time, something different happens. The checkout goes through. A confirmation email arrives. You glance at the total price and do a double take. It doesn't say discounted. It doesn't say reduced. It says $0. You've just secured a FIFA World Cup ticket without paying a single cent. As unbelievable as it sounds, that exact scenario became reality for approximately 60 football supporters on May 21st. Due to a checkout error on FIFA's official ticketing website, tickets were processed, purchases were confirmed, and seats were apparently reserved for the biggest sporting event on earth, for absolutely nothing. For a brief and extraordinary moment, those fans appeared to have secured what would have been the greatest bargain in World Cup history. Then reality arrived. On June 3rd, 13 days later, FIFA contacted each supporter directly. The organization acknowledged that the tickets had been issued at no charge because of a payment processing issue during checkout. It apologized for the inconvenience but made its position clear. The tickets would remain reserved only if the holders paid the full original price within 7 days. Failure to do so would result in the tickets being cancelled entirely. Just like that, a dream that had lasted nearly 2 weeks ended with an email and a deadline. On its own, this might seem like a minor story, a simple website glitch corrected by the organization responsible for it. But viewed within the wider context of FIFA's increasingly controversial ticketing system, the incident becomes something far more revealing. It offers a glimpse into a ticketing process that many supporters believe has become confusing, frustrating, and increasingly disconnected from the fans it was designed to serve. So, what was really happening here? To answer that question, we need to go back to the beginning, because the free ticket glitch was not where this story started. It was merely a symptom of a much larger issue. The real story began months earlier with a decision FIFA made before a single World Cup ticket had even been sold. For the first time in World Cup history, FIFA introduced dynamic pricing. Also known as variable pricing, the system allows ticket prices to rise or fall based on demand. As interest increases and inventory becomes scarce, prices move upward. In theory, they can also fall when demand weakens. It is a model commonly used by airlines, hotels, concert promoters, and professional sports leagues. Its purpose is simple: maximize revenue from every available seat. For a World Cup, however, it represented a dramatic shift. FIFA defended the approach by pointing out that tickets started as low as $60 for certain group stage matches. Technically, that was true, but for many supporters, the reality looked very different. Fans who checked prices in October often returned months later only to discover that the same seats had become significantly more expensive. The result was exactly what critics had warned about. Instead of certainty, supporters faced unpredictability. Instead of fixed prices, they encountered constantly changing costs. The amount they expected to pay often differed dramatically from the amount they were eventually asked to pay. According to findings cited by the Attorneys General of New York and New Jersey, prices across FIFA's 3 primary ticket categories increased by an average of 34% between October and April. Premium seats for the World Cup final reportedly climbed from roughly $8,700 in December to nearly $11,000 by April. That wasn't a minor fluctuation. It was a substantial increase driven entirely by a pricing system FIFA controlled. And that is why legal authorities became involved. Their investigation is not focused solely on rising prices. It is also examining whether supporters received the seats they believed they had purchased. Because in this controversy, the pricing issue is only half the story. The other half concerns the tickets. When FIFA first opened ticket sales for matches at the stadium in New Jersey, the venue scheduled to host 8 World Cup matches, including the final, the seating map appeared straightforward. The stadium was divided into 4 numbered zones, with Zone 1 representing the most desirable locations closest to the pitch and Zone 4 covering the least premium areas. Supporters made purchasing decisions based on that information. Fans willingly paid higher prices for Category 1 and Category 2 tickets because the official seating map presented those sections as premium viewing locations. They believed they were securing some of the best available seats in the stadium. The pricing reflected that expectation, and many supporters paid hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars accordingly. Then the seating structure changed. After large numbers of tickets had already been sold, FIFA introduced new seating zones within the existing categories. Additional front sections were created, effectively establishing a new hierarchy of premium seats. As assignments were finalized, some supporters who had originally purchased what they believed were top-tier locations discovered they were no longer receiving the positions they thought they had paid for. In certain cases, fans were assigned seats significantly farther from the field than expected. Others found themselves behind the goals rather than along the sidelines. Some reported receiving locations that seemed difficult to reconcile with the original stadium map that had influenced their purchasing decision. FIFA defended the practice by stating that the seating maps were indicative rather than guaranteed. That phrase quickly became one of the most controversial aspects of the entire ticketing debate. Because in practical terms, it meant that supporters who spent substantial amounts of money based on a specific seating layout could not necessarily rely on receiving seats in those exact areas. The map that guided their purchase was treated as a general representation, not a binding commitment. FIFA retained the right to assign seats differently when final allocations were made. The controversy soon attracted political and legal attention. New York City officials intervened by securing a limited allocation of $1,050 tickets for local residents, a move widely welcomed but viewed by many as insufficient given the scale of the broader concerns. Meanwhile, the California Attorney General separately sought information regarding how seat categories were marketed and whether representations made during sales differed from the final assignment supporters received. By the time the tournament approached, FIFA's ticketing practices were facing scrutiny across multiple jurisdictions. What makes the free ticket glitch particularly interesting is how closely it fits into this larger picture. The checkout error did not occur in a simple, uncomplicated system. It occurred within a ticketing structure built around dynamic pricing, phased releases, evolving seating categories, and a resale marketplace where some listings reportedly reached extraordinary prices. Under the weight of that complexity came a checkout failure that temporarily awarded free tickets to around 60 supporters. On June 3, FIFA publicly confirmed the incident, describing it as an isolated error and giving affected fans 7 days to pay the full ticket price or lose their reservations. But the word isolated carries significant weight, because this glitch did not emerge from a system operating without controversy. It emerged from a system already facing legal investigations, mounting criticism from supporters across multiple countries, and growing questions about transparency, pricing, and fairness. And that brings us to the next chapter of the story, the extraordinary world of World Cup ticket resales. FIFA's official resale platform, the authorized marketplace through which supporters can legally buy and sell World Cup tickets, offered one of the most striking examples of the extraordinary market that had developed around the tournament. At one point, listings appeared for 4 seats to the World Cup final in New Jersey at approximately $2.3 million per seat. That is not a typo. Not $2,300. Not $23,000. More than $2 million for a single ticket. The seats were reportedly located in Block 124, Row 45, behind one of the goals in the lower deck. They were not on the halfway line. They were not luxury hospitality packages. They were not located in a premium executive suite. Yet they carried a listed price that would exceed the cost of many homes. An important distinction must be made, however. A listing price is not the same thing as a sale price. The fact that tickets appeared on the platform at $2.3 million does not mean anyone actually purchased them for that amount. There is no evidence that such a transaction occurred. What the listing demonstrates instead is the environment FIFA's ticketing ecosystem had created, one in which even the official resale marketplace was hosting prices that appeared detached from any realistic market value. But the most revealing signal came from the opposite end of the market. While final tickets were being listed for astronomical sums, a number of group stage tickets were appearing on the same platform for less than $100. Some were selling for a fraction of their original asking price. The contrast was remarkable. The same marketplace contains seats valued in the millions and others struggling to attract buyers at double-digit prices. That enormous gap suggested a growing mismatch between supply and demand. In some cases, original ticket prices appeared to have exceeded what supporters were actually willing to pay. Against that backdrop, the story of the 60 supporters who briefly received free tickets becomes even more significant. These fans had followed FiFA's official purchasing process. They completed checkout, received confirmation emails, and had reservations held within FiFA's own system for nearly 2 weeks. Then, after the error was discovered, they were informed that the tickets would remain valid only if they paid the full listed price within 7 days. The tickets involved were reportedly for group stage matches in Toronto. For supporters who had already begun planning trips, arranging accommodation, or budgeting around those confirmations, the situation felt far from a minor inconvenience. The error had originated within FiFA's system, yet the burden of resolving it fell entirely on the fans. Taken individually, each controversy might appear manageable. Dynamic pricing, changing seat maps, resale market extremes, legal investigations, and the checkout glitch. Together, however, they paint a broader picture. The consequences could be seen in the numbers. Hotel operators across several host cities reported bookings below expectations. Travel data indicated weaker than anticipated international demand in some markets. Reports also suggested substantial numbers of unsold tickets remained available for certain matches despite FIFA citing hundreds of millions of ticket requests. Those figures point to a central question. At what point does a ticket stop being an invitation to football's biggest celebration and become primarily a financial product, something to be repriced, restructured, traded, and optimized for revenue? Because for many supporters, the World Cup has always represented something simpler: the opportunity to witness their national team on the biggest stage, in a seat they trust, at a price they can realistically afford. And that is why the investigations, the criticism, and the free ticket controversy attracted so much attention. They were never just about a website glitch. They were about whether the modern World Cup ticketing system is still serving the people it was ultimately created for, the fans. In many ways, all of this is a measure of the same failure. The free ticket glitch, the dynamic pricing controversy, the changing seat maps, the extreme resale listings, and the ongoing legal investigations are not separate stories. They are different symptoms of a single issue: a growing disconnect between the people who organize the World Cup and the supporters who make it matter. So what happens next? The investigations launched by the Attorneys General of New York, New Jersey, and California will continue long after the final whistle of the tournament. Legal processes move slowly, but their conclusions could have consequences that extend far beyond 2026. Whether those investigations result in fines, mandated refunds, consumer protection findings, or major changes to FIFA's ticketing practices, the outcome will help shape the future of international football. The decisions made in response to this controversy may influence not only the next Men's World Cup, but also the 2030 tournament, the 2034 tournament, and future Women's World Cups. Every major FIFA competition that follows could be affected by what investigators ultimately discover when they examine the records and practices surrounding the 2026 event. And then there are the 60 supporters who briefly held what appeared to be free World Cup tickets. Some of them almost certainly paid. With travel plans already in motion and reservations secured, paying the listed price was likely less painful than losing the opportunity to attend altogether. But perhaps not all of them. Some may have looked at the situation differently. They may have decided that correcting FIFA's mistake was not their responsibility. They may have allowed the reservation to expire and walked away. It was a small act in the context of a global tournament, but it carried a message nonetheless. A message that, at some point, supporters can decide not to participate in a system they no longer believe is serving them fairly. What do you think should happen next? Let me know in the comments. If you found this analysis valuable, a like helps more than you might think.